Hello, hello. Are we recording? I think we are. Okay, I have not taken a shower, so you can see all the boxes in the background. I guess I didn't really think about me being on this call. But more than anything, I want to get started on our double penguins today. So, welcome everyone, and this is how gorgeous I look in the morning, huh? How about that? I need you to get some glasses of water. I usually get 3 just so I don't have to get up and get another one. You could even have 4 if you want, but at least 2. How about that? You also need some paper towels. Where are my paper towels? Of course I don't have them. They're over there. I would get 5 or 6 paper towels because you will be needing them, and have a hair dryer nearby. Hopefully you have it plugged in, so you can pause this video and go get your supplies. And that's all for right now. So I'm going to put this on pause real quick while I go get my paper towels. Okay, I have my paper towels all set to go. And because you all have a box, I am using one too. So everything that I'm using, the same thing you're using. So we could do the reveal together. It's a little different today, if you've noticed. So obviously we've got enough paint for 2 paintings, all right? And inside your box today, I gave you the option to cut out and make a card with your painting, and I even gave you a glue stick to use it. It comes out purple on the back, but it won't ruin it. I mean, you can't keep it forever and ever and put it away for your ancestors to find. But as far as just good for a good year or so for making a card, it's fine. Okay. All right. I gave you 2 pieces of paper so that if you want to make more, I am assuming you're going to have enough paint left over to make more penguins, whichever one you like more. You might find that the mom or the dad and the baby chick is just super easy and fun to do, or you might like the party penguins, and that's a possibility. So I have this here if you would like to frame it. Okay, so there you have it. Now I do have to tell you one thing. I feel that the actual painting turns out different. There is not pink in my original one, but my printer has been printing a lot of pink lately. It's kind of driving me crazy. The colors you have on your palette are not exactly what I wrote on this piece of paper, because first I did one and then I did another and then I tried to combine the 2, but the instructions are just like what I want to happen. Okay, so what I need you to do is take out your instructions, go ahead and place them to the side. Take out your pictures of your birds or penguins, because you will be referring to them often, just so you can see what I'm doing and whatnot. So that is for referring to. And then I would like you to take out the picture of your party penguins and a picture of your regular penguin. Okay, so I'm going to take that out. Basically can take everything out, but you won't need this business for a while. You won't need this till the end, so we don't have to worry about that. But you will need your infamous box of stuff. Okay. All right, I'm going to toss that box aside for now. I've got my water, I've got my paper towels and everything. If you go inside your box, you're going to notice a short little squatty guy that is used for stenciling. It's got really rough hair on it. Almost feels like it's, I don't know what kind of high hair. It feels like straw. Okay. You are going to use this brush to get your paints reconstituted. Okay. So what we can do right now, you don't need anything else in front of you except for your palette. You will be using these pieces of tape again because they're special framers tape, and that way it won't ruin your paper. So don't think that that's just regular tape. Okay, So what we're going to do to begin with is open up your package. Okay, ta-da, and it should be dry. If I just put it together, then you might be lucky and it's not too wet. I'm going to now switch my camera so that you can see what I'm doing, and then you don't have to look at me anymore. Okay, I'm going to advanced, second camera, share. There we go. Okay, so to begin with, what I'm doing is I'm taking my water, a clean water, and I'm just putting a couple little dots in each one of the wells. I'm not touching it with anything. I'm just putting a little bit of water. Now, we will be using this one first, okay? So I am going to put a little bit extra in there, okay? And by doing this, I'm not getting my paintbrush dirty. I don't want to get it dirty, not yet at least, okay? So I have a little bit on my white. I don't have Potter's pink, but we can always make pink later. We can mix a few colors. Got a little smudgy smudge there. So what I like to do, because the blue is so blue and the black is so black or gray, I don't want to start with that. So I'm going to start off with getting my white reconstituted. I don't have to do the whole thing. Okay, guys? We do not have to do the whole thing. I'm going to bring a little bit here in the middle, just a tiny bit. I didn't reconstitute the whole thing, and I put a teeny little bit extra next to it because you will see in a minute what I'm going to do. Oh, maybe not a minute. Okay, I have now made milk out of that one, and I don't like it at all. So I'm actually going to use another glass of water. I'm probably going to have to get new clean water afterwards. So the next lightest color is my yellow. So I'm going to go ahead with my clean brush. I made sure that it's clean. I'm going to reconstitute it. Okay, clean it off. Now, how do I know that it's clean? Well, I take it and I rub it back and forth on my paper towel. If it shows up clean, it's clean. Okay, now I'm going into my orange. We're barely using any of this, so I don't need to get it all reconstituted. Rinsing it off really well. Now in my Tang water. And now I'm going to get my red. And we don't use very much red either. But what I'd like you to do is I want you to put it in the square down here. The reason being is because we are going to use it when it's very liquefied. So if you want to put some clean water in there and get that prepared, there. All right, I've got my liquid red going because I'm going to be using that for the background. Ooh, that is now looking like very strong Tang, the kind I would drink. Okay, so now I have my white, a little bit of white here. Got my orange ready, my yellow ready, my red I pulled down here and liquefied it. And now I'm going to do the lighter blue. Okay, so I'm getting the lighter blue going. Looks pretty good to me. There, done with that. Rinse off my brush again. Looks fairly good. Then I'm going to do this one here. Get that liquefied. Beautiful Prussian blue. Get rid of the lumps. Yeah, you don't want lumpy lumps. That's why this brush is so great for that. And just smush it down. Good. I don't want to waste the color, so I am wiping it off on the edge. Clean off my brush again. See how clean it is down below? It's not looking very clean. I might have to use my pink rosé wine color. Go over here, and yes, now it's clean. And now I'm going to go over here and get my black going. Okay. Again, I don't need too much water in it, but there you go. So I'm going to pause the video right now and go get 3 fresh glasses of water. because I just think it's important to start with clean water. Now that that's reconstituted, you can just toss it to the side for now. I'm going to get rid of it, put it somewhere safe, and I will be right back to tell you the next step. Okay, I'm going to do a little pause here. Okay, I'm resuming recording. I'm going to share my screen again with you guys. And here is my screen, hopefully. Yes. Okay, so now what do I do? Well, I'm not going to do anything with my water. My water's clean, got all my waters, but I am going to take my 2 pictures, okay? I'm going to take my pencil and I need to sharpen it. Maybe yours isn't sharpened, I don't know. See if I can find one. And I will be taking this picture and then on the other side drawing some graphite right here. See if I already have one. Yes, I do. It's a 2B pencil. That means that it's soft. You won't want to use like a regular pencil. And I'm going to make sure that wherever I put my graphite, it covers the whole area. So I have to go way down at the bottom and come up. But what I want to make sure is that I have it completely covered. So what I like to do is hold it up to the light to see that there are no gaps, because what we're doing is we're putting down the graphite so that we have tracing paper. And yes, now I need to do this. Oh, by the way, if anything in the pack that I give you in that box doesn't work anymore, or something exploded or whatever is broken, please throw it away and then write me a note on the box so that when I take out your containers, I'll know that, oh, maybe the sharpener broke and it's not there anymore. Or, oh, I stole your pencil. I really like it. I need it. Hopefully you won't do that. But, you know, I could spare a pencil. But as far as my micron pens and my white pens go, oh, don't take those. They are kind of expensive. So that's why I need all my stuff back. If you absolutely positively have to have it, then please talk to me and maybe I'll sell it to you. Okay? All right. So, and I buy them in bulk so I can get you a discount. Ooh, hold it up to the light. I noticed that I didn't get the very bottom. And I want to make sure that I get everything, all the little lines that are on the front or on the back. Good, I got that one. Okay, now I'm going to do the same for the other one. Now, people that have taken my class know that this is the drill. This is just what we do in the beginning, okay? So I will not waste your time with this business, but I will be getting that done in a minute. Now, once you have that done, you can take your paper and you're going to decide, you can use the smooth side or you can use the rough side. It doesn't really matter which side you use. I mean, maybe this time I'll use the smooth side. I usually use the rough side, but I'm going to fold it in half, because if I do it on the full piece of paper, I tend to stress about covering the whole area. But if I just fold it, right, like that, then what I can do is I can paint just this area. And I swear that our thing is not going to be that big. If you absolutely positively want to paint it on the big piece, that's okay too. But what I need to tell you is you're only going to be painting this area. I don't want you worrying about getting the whole thing wet whenever I say to get it wet. So for this class, I'm going to do half and half so that I have extra paper. I could probably rip it okay. This is 140-pound paper. It's good quality. It's Canon. Pretty sure it's Canon. And of course, I can't rip it. So maybe I should cut it. I guess I could do that, but then I'd have to get up and get a scissors. And I don't really want to do that. So lazy. I'm going to cut it. Okay. Maybe I should get up and get a scissors because then my line would be better. Okay, I'm never prepared. And I always want you to be prepared. That's weird. I'm going to do well, no, I'm going to do both sides smooth. Why not? So then I'm going to take my penguin. I'm going to put it this way because if I make a card, or do I want it this way? I think I'm going to put it this way because I like the background and I want the bottom part here. So I guess technically, if I did do it on one piece of paper, then I'd have the choice. Ooh, you're right. Well, you know what? I'm going to do it on the big piece of paper. I was telling you to do it on the small piece, but I'm thinking I'm going to do it on the big piece because then I have the option of which way I want to cut it. See, but if I put it on the small piece, I can only go, okay, never mind. That is a good idea for my next class to tell everybody how to do it. So I'm glad that I actually went and did that. Fabulous. Okay, so now you have a little piece of tape. Your tape should be on that cellophane. See the cellophane right here? I'm going to take the tape off one piece, and then I'm going to rub it a little bit on my shirt or my pants because I don't want anything to happen to my paper. I'm going to carefully put it down, and then I'm going to take my red pen. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to take my red pen and go all the details. I could put the eye there, but it's probably going to disappear. But I'm going to put this, and wherever I see a detail, I'm going to put it in. Okay? And that's what I'm doing because what happens when I press hard, you want to keep it fairly even, you know, because this is what's going to show up for me to be able to paint around. Okay? You can go all the way across as well because we will eventually be doing that. All right, so what will happen is you are tracing underneath, and that's what comes out. So I want you to make sure you keep it in one spot, do all the details, and I'm going to put you on pause while I do this. Okay, so I'll show you what's going on here. What I've done is now that I'm finished, I'm going to pick it up before I take it off and make sure I have all the lines, and I do. So then I'm going to take that off, and hopefully nothing's happened to my paper. And now I can use this again later if I want to, or I can just scrunch it up and put it away somewhere. You do not need to use that anymore. Now, inside your box, you will notice that you have an eraser. I use the eraser sometimes if I feel that my lines are too dark. Some of your erasers are old, not to worry. Some of them are new. And the only part that I would erase right now, because I'm looking at my painting, and I notice that on my painting, I can't see the line here, or not really here. So I'm going to go in and erase, tap it, so that when I do put down the blue and when I do put down the other stuff, I won't be able to see this hard line. So yeah, I'm going to go in and dab it because I want it lighter. I don't have to erase it completely, but I just don't want it to be so, what's the word? So dark. Yeah. And I did it around the baby's face because I didn't want a dark line there. I probably shouldn't have erased that much, but there you go. All right. So I'm going to put it on pause again, and I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other piece of paper so that I have two paintings side by side. So here I go, putting it on pause for you guys. I'm back. Okay, I wanted to show you how dark it is, and then I'm going to put it down. But this one I'm going to put down right about here. So then I can decide which way, if I want to make it a card or what have you. And that tape, extra piece of tape on the other one. Probably be a good idea to use. I'm going to take it off of there. I would like this plastic bag back because then I can reuse it. I think more than anything, the plastic bag is to keep the paints from getting all over everything. It's not to keep it fresh because I know they're going to dry out. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this whole thing again. There is one line that is not important to draw, and I'm pretty sure it is this line here. So we can erase it afterwards, but I noticed if you'll look at the picture of the dancing, prancing penguins, oh, it's not on this one. Oh, before I thought I had a line here. Well, maybe on the original one it showed up. That's probably what happened. Let me have a look and see. Aha, it is. It's a pencil mark. Let me show you. I didn't like how this turned out. Let me see if I can get it in there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a pencil mark right there. And that's why I was upset about it. And I also thought that there was no reason for me to have these silly lines in there. So think about that. Think about, oh, wait a minute, if I do really dark lines, okay to do dark lines up here. And of course, dark lines down here, but where the belly goes, you know, you could make it a little lighter, okay? So that is what I'm going to do right now. Oh, here's the original one. See how light that is? It's a heck of a lot lighter than what showed up on the thing, but I just love how that looks like an oily wing. And here's my other one. They come out differently every time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and put in all these lines. Again, press down fairly firmly. And I'm going to put it on pause, and I'll see you when yours is ready. Okay. There we go. I'm pausing the share. And I'm going to also pause. Okay. So here we go again. Dun, da, 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 da. All right. I think I'm recording again. Hopefully I am. I'm going to make sure that I'm recording. Yes, I am recording, so that's good. All right, just trying to figure out this whole system here. It's a little bit complicated. Okay, good. So now I'm going to lift it up to be sure that I at least got the beaks in and that part that's going to be orange. And I didn't really put these parts in. If you did, that's okay. We can erase them. Pull it up very gently because I don't want anything to happen to your paper after all that work. And because this is so messy, I'm just going to fold it and put it off to the side. Okay, with my eraser, I'm going to see if I can get this a little clearer for you. All right, I'll zoom in a bit. Oh, well, that's really tight. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because his belly is a little bit white, I'm going to lighten the belly, that belly and this belly just a little bit. Okay. Other than that, I'm just going to get rid of a few smudges, but I got to tell you, I'm going to use all these lines just perfectly. Like again, if you do have the lines, the squiggles on his bellies, it's not the end of the world. Just get it a little lighter. Okay. So I'm going to back up a little bit here and now explain to you what we'll do first. I'm thinking it will be easier. We're going to do the two paintings, but I think what we'll do is first we'll do some stuff on this one, and then while that one is drying, this one here, the one with the baby chick, while that background is drying, then we'll move on and do a little bit of this background, and then we'll come back to this one, and so we'll just go between the two. So just to protect my party penguins, I am going to now use this one here. I'm just going to put that one there. Okay, so my party penguin, excuse me, my adult and whatnot. What do I want to do first? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take water. I can put the line all the way across here, but then again, I'm not going to go below this line. I'm going to take and go all the way up here, all the way down here, and just right up to the penguin and get it wet. So which brush should I use? I can use the medium one. I could use the super big one. I like the super big one if you've got one. Some people just have a medium one. And with a clean water, you just go ahead. And remember, we don't have to get the whole paper wet. But what I'm doing is I'm going right up to the bird and I'm being very careful not to get his belly, because that will be white. And then I'm being very careful around the chick. Now, some people will not feel comfortable using a large brush. Okay, especially if you have little hands for people who are younger or just have little hands. So what I would use is a smaller brush so that you have a little bit more detail, more control. Now, I make sure your brushes are clean because remember, I reuse these brushes and I don't wash them. So I don't know if the person before you rinsed them off or if they left something on it, okay? All right. So here I am going all the way down. Sometimes I move my paper in different directions because I want to make sure that I can see where I'm putting the water. Okay, right around his head, careful, careful, and then right around his beak. Yeah, I like using the medium one, not the super huge one. I have more control. Okay, now what do I want to use? Well, I'm going to be using the Prussian blue. That's the top one. I'm using the Prussian blue. So did I say that that's which one we're using for the chick? Let's make sure. Party penguin, cerulean blue. Good. Prussian blue. Yes, that's what I said. So here I go. I'm going to get my my paintbrush wet. I'm going to roll it around and then get off some of it. Okay. And this is going to seem a little bit shocking at first, but do not worry. I'm just going to go in there and then carefully go in there like this. Remember, this is not going to be that dark. Don't worry. All I'm doing is putting down the layer, but then I'm taking water as well. And I'm going to keep putting water on it. Okay? It's not going to be super dark. Not the end of the world. If you want it super dark, that's okay too. And see, I made the mistake of thinking I had to go all the way to the edge. I don't have to, because this is not how big my painting is. And that's why in the beginning I was saying, oh, don't have the whole piece of paper because then you're going to worry. I'm turning it upside down and I'm going in. You'll notice it's a lot lighter. That's okay. Put some more water in there. Dragging it away from the duck. Oh, it's not a duck, Joan. It's a penguin. Jeez, can't even remember what I'm painting. Okay, so going in there, I'm going to get a little bit more Prussian blue. And I'm going all the way down and all the way across. Important to keep that line there because I will be adding a different line and then going right up there. If I accidentally get the penguin blue, like I said, it's not too bad because this will be black. So I can always redo the line. I can always redo his silhouette. Okay, but I don't want a halo on him. He's not that kind of penguin. So I'm going to go in here and splash, put some more water. It's nice to have the background look like something's happening. So what I do is I go in there and I add water. Okay. Add water, move it around. There. As long as you don't have any white skippies, you're fine. And go right up to the bird's neck. Because I don't want it to look like, oh, I was painting, but then I was too afraid to get next to it. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm going to do it. Okay. Ta-da! I'm going to leave it. So this is what it looks like when it's done. Not too dark, not too light. If I think it's too dark, I can put water on it and sop it up and move it around. If I don't like it, I can move the water around, but it is going to dry lighter. okay? So I'm going to play that flat. I'm going to go lay it flat on a surface somewhere. All right. Now we're moving on to our dancing penguins. Okay. So what am I going to do with my dancing penguins? Well, I'm going to rinse off my brush and I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to go in there and get it wet. But the problem is, since there's so many penguins and there's so much stuff going on, I have to be somewhat careful. There's a little section at the bottom, right? I'm going to go between the penguins to get the water. See? These guys right here have a little bit here, and this guy's got a little bit showing at the bottom, so we can't forget that. Remember, one is the leg, and one is the space between his legs, so don't get that confused. Otherwise, he'll look like he has a peg leg. So I am going in there and not going too far up, and I'm getting it wet. It doesn't have to be soaking, but I definitely want to make sure that I've got something going on there. I'm going to be real careful around these two guys that look like they're talking, or maybe they're penguin siblings and they're squabbling, who knows? And I'm going to go real careful around here, but I'm not going to go down to the bottom. There we go, water, water. I think I have some good water. And now I'm going to get my cerulean, which is the next one down, and I'm going to put some down. I'm going to get some more water, and I'm going to just go right up to that bird. If it starts drying out on you, you need to get some more water. You cannot have this dry out on you. You want to make sure that you have some control, but you also have to make sure that you keep it all liquidy and nice and moving about. So here I go. I'm cruising around, more water, going down here. I'm going to get this part here so I don't forget it. Uh-oh. I put a little bit too much water there, so I'm soaking it up with my brush. Sometimes that happens, and then all you do is you use it like a mop. All right, here we go. Getting this little bit in there and going down and being very careful around his belly. You got to work quickly because it will dry. It is drying as we speak. It is also buckling. Do not worry. That's just part of it. Some people get frustrated when that happens, but it's just part of watercoloring. We're not using the super, super duper expensive paper. That would stay still. That's also $5 for a piece like this size. Every now and again, I use the expensive stuff, but this is not the cheap stuff either. Okay, now I'm cruising down. Ooh, I am dry, so I got to get some more water in there. Oops, there. Here we go, moving it around. Aha, got to get in between these guys a little bit of color. And I want to try and keep the color even. So I'm putting water in here, but I also want it to be, you know, it doesn't look any different from the rest of it. It's just sky. So you'll notice it's too light on one side. Go and get some more. Get some more, put it in there. Now I'm noticing that I'm not going, whoops, I bumped him, but that's okay. No big deal, as long as it's not his belly. All right, I like a lot of action in here, so I'm adding more water. I'm actually putting in some more water. And now I'm going to take this little pile of red, just a tiny bit. I'm going to roll my thing around in it. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of red in there. I know, it's crazy. Then I'm going to go in and wet it down. Wet it down, wet it down. It's kind of getting purpley. And now I'm going to go and get some more of that cerulean, that light blue that I was using, and put it in there at the top. Put some more water, and this is where I'm going to get some action. I'm going to pick it up and tap it a little. Okay? It should start running, which is a good thing. Why am I doing that? Well, I want it to look like the background is like the aurora borealis or whatever it's called. I can put in a little bit more water if it's not moving, like I notice it's not moving around his head. Just a little bit. I'm going to move it around. And right near him, I can see I didn't get a lot of movement. Put in some more. This is scary for people because they're just like, what? This is not painting. This is just cray cray. Well, it is. That's true. Boop, boop, boop. Drop in some water. And here we go. Picking it up, letting it run. I don't know if you can see what's happening, but it will not touch the penguins because the penguins are not wet. The water will only go where I have put it. The water will go, the paint will go where the water is. So do I love it? I love it. Why? Why do I love it so much? Well, it's not super bright. I've got a little bit of pink purple going on in there. I've got movement. I feel like the penguins are nicely covered, you know, like in the background. I love it. So I'm going to leave this just as it is, okay? I'm not going to dry it or anything. I'm going to just put it off to the side. You can pause this video and go ahead and work on it some more if you need to. Remember, if it warps, it's okay. It will eventually lay flat. Okay, putting it away now. Okay, so I'm going back to the penguin and the chick. And I notice that I've got some action going on here. I think it's pretty. It's a little bit warped, but it's also still wet. So I'm going to put you on hold while I clean it up. I'm going to put it on and dry this whole area on low. So here I go. Hi. Okay, we're back. Now, this is dry. Ooh, very dry. It's a little bit, you know, cool, but I know that it's dry. I can feel it. I can put my hand on it and whatnot. All right, so what am I going to do now? Well, let's read what it says for penguin and chick. It says, mop up the excess water, blah, 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 dry with hair dryer. I am on step number 3. I'm going to pre-wet the top area of large bird where the yellow is. Okay, so I am going to be getting this little bit right here just barely wet. Okay, that's what I'm going to be working on, this little section. All right, and then I'm going to take a small brush and I'm going to put a little bit of yellow right here and just watch it kind of go down a little bit. If I feel that it's traveling too fast and furious, I can push it back. Remember that, okay? You don't use very much. Again, I know we've got a lot of thick yellow there, so just want a little tiny bit. And then we're going to dab in, at the same time it's still wet, we're going to dab in a little bit of orange. So let me get my smaller brush. Okay, I'm using one that's a number 4 or a number 6. And I'm cleaning it off. And I'm using my paper towel to make sure it's clean, because remember I told you these are used and abused. Just kidding. Okay, now, so I'm going to get my clean water and I'm going to put a little bit of water right at the top here. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And then I'm taking a dab of my yellow, like a dabby dab, and I'm putting it in and watching how it moves around. If it doesn't move around very well, I'll help it. I'll just push it just to make it kind of go off into the oblivion. And now I'm going to zoom in so you can see. I'm going to put a little bit more yellow because the thing with watercolor is it will dry lighter. It dries through probably 3 times, a third, excuse me, not 3 times lighter. All right, now I'm going to take a teeny bit of my orange and dab it in there. Now, it looks a little bit too wet, So if I think I have too much, I can dab it up, and now I took away too much. So it's kind of like a little game you play where you put in some and then you take away some. So I'm putting it in on his chest, and I want it to kind of migrate a little bit. So in order to encourage that, I'm going to wet my brush and put a little bit of water in front of it to make it run. It's running a little bit, not as much as I'd like. So I'm going to add a little bit more yellow there to see what happens. Okay. At any time I feel like I want a little bit more liquid movement going on, I can add a little bit more water to it and see what happens. I like it. I kind of want him to have a little bit more orange on his chest though, because I think it's such a pretty color, you know? Okay, so I'm done with that. I really did give you way too much orange and yellow. I don't know, I was just going crazy. There we go. Now, what does it say we have to do? Then lightly wet the rest of the body. Okay. Now, this is when they ask about the potter's pink to the belly and a little under the chick's wing. So I'm going to get it wet right here on the chick, and I'm going to get the body, the rest of the body, just a little bit wet, pulling it down, pulling it down. And to make pink, of course you know how to make pink. I'm going to take a tiny bit of my red and mix it in, a little bit more water. There's my pink. Okay, so then I'm going to put a little bit of pink under the wing and on his belly. And I'm going to put a little bit on the adult bird's body too. I don't know why I do it. I just did it because it looked to me like there was a little bit more color on there. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I can leave that for now, and I'm going to dry it up with the hair dryer. Okay. I was thinking we should probably do this little bit right here. So exactly what I did before, I'm going to put a little bit of, whoops, there it is. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there and a little bit, I don't have to pre-wet it though. I don't think I'm going to pre-wet it just because it's such a small area. Let's see what happens when I do that. Put a little bit of yellow in there and then a little bit of orange. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Okay, and then I'm going to leave it. So I've got a little bit of pink in there and a little bit of pink underneath here. I've already done my yellow and my orange, and I guess I could put my pink in his little nose area. I don't know what that is, but I saw it on a painting. So who knows? Maybe that's just, I don't know, but I'm going to put a little bit of pink in there for now. Okay, so time to dry it up and time for me to put you guys on pause. So here we go, pausing while I dry it with my hairdryer. Okay, I was just thinking I didn't really need to dry it with my hairdryer because we're doing two paintings. So I tossed that to the side. Mine is still a little bit wet, okay? But I think what we should do now is focus on drying our party penguins. And then what we're going to do with the party penguins is exactly what we did before. We're going to do the yellow part on these guys. So since we did the yellow on one, we're going to do the yellow on the other one. We'll be putting in the yellow and orange, yellow and orange. Okay, that's what we're doing to these guys in a minute, but first I have to dry it. Okay. I hope that you weren't just watching me sit there, but maybe that's okay. Good. Well, this feels fairly dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my picture available in front of me so that I know what I'm doing, so that I get this area, and I won't go down farther. I'll probably go halfway. I'm going to get this part yellow and orange. It kind of, yeah, the yellow can go on first, and then I'll just go for the orange. While it's still available, because I haven't messed this up, I'm going to erase this line. I have a line here that I don't like. So, all right, I'm going to zoom in here so you know what's happening. I'm using my small brush. I'm getting the first penguin. I'm going to get his little orange area done. So I'm going to go up here, and then just kind of come down. That's the area I'm doing. Because I can go fairly fast, I know all I'm doing is putting in yellow right now. I'm going to go ahead and get each one of these ready. There, a little bit of yellow. Get it wet, roll it around in there, and here we go. Remember, this is not going to stay yellow. We're going to put quite a bit of orange in there too. So there we go. Got that one. Got that one. This one is sort of like a Y. Love how he's turning around like that. This one looks like he's ignoring him. And I think the one in the front looks grumpy. So I'm going to rinse off my brush, and now I'm going to just make it look like it sort of just melds down there. The yellow diminishes completely, so there's like no delineating line. And now I'm going to get my orange, get it on my thing, and go in there. And I know that this part here is very orange, and let it run. There we go. Put it at the top. And hopefully it'll run where I want it to run. And if it doesn't run, like I see it's not running, I can take a clean brush and dab it in a little bit. Just make it so that it's not so sharp. I don't want the difference between the yellow and the orange to be so sharp. Just going to mellow it out a little. Okay, a little bit more yellow maybe. Boop, boop, boop. The two are mixing. Well, that's nice. I could mix the two by putting in a little dabby dab. Little dabble do ya. Okay, and now, yeah, I like that. It's subtle. It's enough, you know. I don't think I have any issues with that at all. I really like it, and I'm going to let it dry on its own. Now I can put it off to the side. Yeah, I'm going to put it off to the side. And this guy should be dry by now. Should be, I say. Okay. So let me take my instructions for the other one. And the other one says, I guess we're going to do the little baby chick first. Okay. And then we're going to do his head. We're going to do his body and put in little strokes underneath it. Okay, well, you can follow what that says. I'm going to kind of do my own thing too. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to get the chick's body wet, just a little bit. Okay. I'm not going to do the feet though, and if I get the feet, it's okay. I'm going to take a little bit of the Payne's Gray. Now, when I take the Payne's Gray, I'm going to take a little bit out of here and put it here, because then I have more control. And then I'm going to take it and put in a little bit around his neck, a little bit under his wing. Kind of get that shadow in there. And kind of dab, dab, dab a little bit. That's what I'm doing. Okay. That's all. Now I can go up to his head. And I can start out with, I am using I should probably use a very small brush. I have too much water on my brush. I'm going to go ahead and do his little head. The head that's squished up against the body. So cute. The first time I did it right here, it doesn't look dark enough. So I'm going to go in and get a little bit more, make it a little darker. And I think make it look so dark. I'm trying to make it look like he's got feathers. So I'm going to do couple little teeny pieces coming off of it. Almost like he's got a fuzz on his head. So if you could do a little fuzzy on the top of his head, that would be cute. If you can't, it's all right. Okay. All right, I can put in his little feet because they're dark. Yes, those little penguin feet. I feel like his feet are so big compared to his body. And now I'm going to take some of the white. I'm going to clean off my brush. And I'm going to take some of the white and put it right here. And then take a little bit of black and make my gray. There. I have mixed a little bit of black and white. And that's where I get my gray. And then I'm going to go in with sort of a dry brush and put in my feathers. Yeah, I think I want dry. It's rather dry when I put this in. Because I want the pieces, I want it to look like there's little feathers. So if I just do a little stroking in there, I may have to come back later when it's dry, a little more dry, and see what happens. But I'm covering up the pink, I'm covering up his belly, and I am covering up the arm part, but I can still see that's a little bit darker. If you need to go in there and make his armpit dark again under his wing, that's fine. That'll give it some shape. And then I'm just covering around his feet and making them look fuzzy. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what's happening. I'm really not doing much more than just kind of not making it just look flat. I'm trying to make it look like something's going on there. Okay? All right, so now what to do? Well, what we can do now is do it gray. So we can get this part wet on his belly. Okay, with not a super big brush, but the medium-sized brush. Go in there. I'm not getting the head part. I'm going around the head. And I'm going just up to the yellow. And I'm just moving things around a little, not too wet. Because I'm going to put in a very, very, very light bit of gray, or what do you want to call it? I'm going to put in some Payne's gray. I want to put some under the wing, and I'm just putting in a little bit. Now, it might look like I'm putting in a lot, but I can sop it up. And that way, it'll give it the illusion that he's not just pure white. He's got a little bit of color on his belly. Again, if I want it whiter again, I can move things around. That's okay. And if you think you're in trouble and you want to take your paper towel, you can always wipe it up. But I just think that gives it a little bit of color, which is nice. And it also looks like there's a little bit of a shadow around the baby's face, or the chick's face, whatever you want to call it. So I am putting a little bit of a shadow there. All right. So what do I do now? Well, I like it. I can put a tiny bit of gray on the chick's face. If you want to put even a little bit of pink, you could take a teeny bit of pink and put it on his cheeks if you want. A little bit near his nose, just to make it look like he's got a face, you know? And I can fix that part later with a pen or what have you. But I think he looks fine. You don't have to have the details so, so intense. All right, that is wet. So we're going to put it away for now. Put it off to the side. And now I'm going to look over here and see where we're at. All right, I think it is time. Let me look at my party penguins. I think it is time now to put in the Payne's gray. we're going to do dark Payne's gray for the head and the beak, okay? And you might want to use your detail brush and be very careful to keep his beak straight and sharp, because we can't do much if that gets too messed up, okay? We can use our white pen to fix a little bit, so be real careful. You can wait till the end to do the beak if you want. We're going to go ahead and pre-wet it, not a lot on his head, but pre-wet his body. Go down here, you can pre-wet his body. You don't really have to pre-wet the feet, because we're going to be dragging it up and whatnot. So which one should I do first? I think I'm going to start on Mr. Back of the Line guy. So I'm going to get a little bit of water and I'm going to go ahead and put it in. There we go. Okay, and you can't see. Sometimes that happens. It just gets all weird. So I am pre-wetting just that little ducktail area and his foot. So that area there, and I'm just a little bit on his face. Then when I'm taking from the pod, remember, I don't want to take it right from here. So I'm going to take some and put it over here because I don't want to mess up my black paint or Payne's gray. So then I go in and I'm just going to stroke it in right up to the edge. And you don't worry if it's too light, you can always make it darker. I would rather it be light in the beginning because then you can do some stuff with the water and add some more and blah, blah, blah. Ooh, yes, very nice. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down, get his little feet in there. All right. You know it's going to dry lighter, okay? I haven't done his head yet. I'm going to go in. I didn't get too much, and I'm going to be real careful around his beak. We can make his beak sharper with the micron pen. And don't worry about losing his, please don't worry about losing his, Jones, beak. Come on, get it out. His eyeball. He doesn't have eyeballs on this one. I mean, on the, just don't worry about losing anything because you're just putting in the black. I can't speak sometimes. Okay, there we go. Right up because I know it's dry. I can go, that black can go right up there. And I can bring it down just a little bit on his neck. Okay? Whew. If you think it's too black, soak some of it up. And then go ahead and get some more black. And go ahead and put it in there nice and stroke it in there. Okay, now I'm going to show you something that I think is pretty cool. This will make it look so good. Now you might have to make his backbone look, or the back part of him, a little bigger because you want to get it nice and smooth. So what am I going to do? I'm going to breathe. I'm going to take a little bit of water and then I'm going to dab it and see what happens. Sometimes things happen, sometimes they don't. So I'm going to move it along because I want it to look a little bit lighter right on his shoulder. I can take some more black paint and dab it in. Okay. All right, we'll work on that one later. I just wanted it to move a little bit. Sometimes it moves, sometimes it doesn't. So now I'm going to be real careful with the black here and the black here. And then he's got his little paddle arm there. And then it goes down here. Okay, get my black, put it in gently. And this is pretty much what I'm doing now. I'm just going to do the black on all four of them. If it gets a little messed up, remember you still have time when it's wet. You can always mop it up. Worst case scenario, let's say worst case scenario, one on the one penguin on the end or the one penguin at the other end, you could always frame it without that guy. I have painted big paintings where they end up being small paintings because I got rid of a part of it. Like, oh, this painting was going to be huge, but then I only liked one part of it. Now, in order to make the penguin's arm look like it's coming off and it's not just some weird appendage, you know, like some tumor or something, I am going to make it a little darker under the wing, just like on the baby. And then just bring it up just a little bit. You can bring it up, like I said, by taking your water and doing a little bit of a mop job. I'll zoom in here so you can see one more time maybe. But what I did was I took a little bit of it up, and that way it's lighter, and then it actually looks like I have a wing there. And now I'm going to take it and be real careful right here. I'm too lazy to get a smaller brush, so I'm just trying my best with this brush. And I don't know why I do that. It's just like when I'm cutting vegetables, I use the wrong size knife. I usually use a knife that is too small. But I don't know why. I just feel like, nope, I'm going to make it work. And for some reason, I'm using this brush. And why I don't switch brushes. Oh, I'm being careful. I'm being real careful. I'm actually sweating because I don't want to mess up my guy. Whoa. Okay. Whew, that was scary. All right. I think I'm going to make his little throat thicker. I feel like I can. Okay. Rinse off my brush. Start again. I think I'm going to do Mr. Fat Guy over here first. I'm going to get this part wet because this little bit is wet and I don't want to have any problems. So that's why I'm doing it. Getting it wet. All right, here we go. Going in. I think it'll look really cute when we're done. Probably going to want to paint a whole bunch more. And maybe you don't even want the background. That's possible too, you know, because it is kind of stressful making our crazy background. I'm working on another painting where we're going to use salt. So it's a beautiful scene of a bunch of, it won't be for a while. It won't be like maybe during Christmas or something. I'll do it. Whoops. His tail got a little goofy, but who am I to say? You know, maybe he's like the grand poopah because he has a tail like that. Or whatever is that thing he has. Okay. I wonder if penguins smell. I bet they do because they eat fish and stuff. They probably have a smelly fish breath. Okay, here we go. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to go down his neck, not too far. Oh, I'm not a very I would not make a good surgeon. Oh. I don't know how they do that. Okay. All right. Now, how do I get that crazy, wonderful, slick look? Well, I put the color in, nice and dark. Bring it on down. And then I take clean water and drop some in. Please move around. Please move around. Well, I'm going to have to move it around myself. All right. I guess I could stand it up and see what happens. Oh, now it's moving. Okay. Now I'm going to do my last penguin. And then while this is drying, we get to go do our big penguin. And it's the same thing. Someone was telling me in the last class when I was telling them about the penguins that penguins mate for life. So I wonder what they do if their spouses pass. I wonder if they pick up another one for the rest of their lives. I guess there's been wonderful shows on penguins. Okay, and the moms go off and hunt, and the dads will sit on the eggs. That's what I've heard. Just hang out on the egg, and I guess they only have one kid. One little egg because the eggs are, tucked in there. All right. My black is drying up a little bit, so I had to put some more water in it. I call it black, but it's actually called Payne's Gray. Okay, so I forgot this little leg down here. So what I'm going to do is go in and make it either lighter or darker, one or the other. I think I'm going to make this one darker. The one on the picture is lighter. Well, as long as there's a difference and you can tell that the leg is a different color, you're fine. Yeah. So I guess this leg should be darker too, because if I did what I do to one, I should probably do the other. Ooh, he's got big feet. Okay. If I don't like it, I can dab it, boop, and make it lighter, if that's what I want to do. But it has to be a little bit wet. Oh, dog's barking. You know what? I am going to make this lighter just because it'll look better. I'm making this one lighter too. So I'm going to take the edge of my paper towel and lift it up. There. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough for my leg. All right. Now what am I doing? Well, I'm going to leave it alone for now because later I'll be doing little details and whatnot, and this needs to be dry. So I'm putting it away while the dog barks. Bobo. Okay, here we are on the chickadee. I'm going to put you on mute so you can't hear me yelling the word bow. Where's my mute button? Please, 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 so I can yell. I can't find my mute button, so I can't yell. I'm just going to clap my hands. Maybe he thinks, rah, rah, bravo, keep barking like that. We love it. I'm sure that's what he thinks. I can't call him to come over here because then he comes over like, I was protecting you. I was just doing my job. Okay, so I'm going to take my black again and go cruising up here on my big chick. And I have to tell you, if you want, you can even add a little bit of Prussian blue. Just a tiny bit if you want to add some. Clean your brush off and you can put some in there. It just makes it look lovely. It's not just so black if you want to. But if not, that's all right too. Okay, so I'm going to try very hard to cover up all of my pencil marks and get his back nice and straight. So, oops, I had to make it a little bigger because I wasn't going real straight there. It almost looks like it's like the Munsters, the woman, what was her name? And she had that long outfit on And it made like a, this is what the dress looks like, Mrs. Munster. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Okay, there we go. Put it in there. Oh, da, 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 da. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do his head. Now remember, don't worry about his eye, and just worry about that little, whatever that pink thing is, and that thing on his face. That's probably their ear or something. I don't know. Oh, there we go. We're going to put the eyes in later with the white pen, and then we're going to dry it up and do a dot with the pen, or we'll do a dot with the, we'll do a dot with the white, but we'll probably use the a dark with the, I can't speak. You know what I'm saying. We'll do the whites of the eyes with the pen, and then we'll do the black part with the pen as well, because we have two different pens. Oh man, that was hard to say, and I don't know how to edit, so this is just a one-take deal. So whatever comes out of my mouth is what sticks. Just scary. Okay, here we go. The black is so black that I'm just so afraid of messing up. His beak is not, his beak is kind of bulbous. His beak is not like the other beaks. So this must be a different type of penguin. This one is on the other pole. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of water in there and move it around, because I want to make it look like something's happening. You can't have it just plain black. That's boring. We have to get something going there. Oops. His wing got a little big, but that's okay. All of them will turn out just a little bit different. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It'll look great. Ah, phew. All right. So with my detail brush, I can also, if I want to, put in the little nose part, or I can wait and do that with my pen. If you feel confident about putting it in, go for it. If not, you don't have to. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of the blue and see what happens if I put just a little bit blue in there. I don't know. Sometimes if I mix it with the black, what will it look like? I'm not wild about it. So I'll cover it up. Oops. I guess it's good that I'm messing it up instead of you. It's one thing you don't want to hear your doctor say. Oops. Okay. So I sent one of these kits away to my little sister, Sharon, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm gonna call her up, and hopefully she'll get it. She'll get the package, and then we can paint it together, or she can watch my video. I think it'd be nicer if we paint it together. A little sister bonding. Okay, it's not that bad. All right, I'm going to back it up for you guys to see, and this is somewhat dry. I'm going to put it out of the way and go back to my other one. This is kind of nice. We don't have to use our hair dryers quite so often. So now I want to get this whole bottom part wet. So I am going to use my little bit bigger one, and I'm going to go ahead and go all the way across. Now there is one little section between his legs not to forget, and then another little section, and it might bleed just a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't bleed too much. Bleeding means that the color will start running. I feel like this is fairly dry, so we're okay. I'm going to go across, and then I'm going to take my Prussian blue, that real beautiful dark Prussian blue, and whoops, I got a little bit on there, so I'm going to get that off. And I am going to put that in there real carefully, because I feel like this looks like an iceberg. And they're standing there in the tundra, walking across the tundra, trying to keep away from the predators. So there we go. Put it in there. And then remember around his feet to be very careful. And right up there in between. Okay. All right. Now, how am I going to make it look like, well, how am I going to make it look like a frozen tundra? Well, I'm going to go in there and get it wet. Put a little extra water in there, like it's starting to melt, like they're standing on an iceberg. That's it. And I'm getting some more of that beautiful Prussian blue. And I'm making it a little bit darker around where they're standing because, you know, maybe there's some, what are they called? Shadows, you know. Okay. So I'm dabbing it in a little bit. There it is. Oops. Keep it even, Joan. Keep it even. And now I'm going to pick it up and let it run. Ooh. See what I'm doing? Picking it up. And I'm letting it run a little bit. Now, if yours isn't running enough, right, you just go in there and add a little bit of water. And that way, it'll give it some more liquid to get it runny. Okay, here we go. Picking it up. Ooh, gosh, that's pretty. I love it so much, I'm going to leave it. I don't want to make it run anymore. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to put it off to the side. All right. Now, I'm going to take my other one, and it's dry, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to take my big brush, get it nice and wet. The water's a little bit blue. That's okay. Remember, I don't have to go all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to load up my brush with the Prussian blue. Ooh, gosh, that's pretty. I'm going to be careful not to splash, though, because I would hate to get my guy messed up. I am going to do a little bit of a tutorial on how to use the Mr. Clean, and we'll see how it works. I was going to use it on my hibernating bear, on the bird, to see if I could fix the bird or change it. Okay, so there we go, all the way across. Get it a little wetter. Pull it up a little bit, if you will. All right, dab in a little more. There we go. And now I'm going to pick it up. Let it run. Okay, put some more water on it. Pick it up. Gosh, that looks pretty. There's just something about it. If you don't like the puddles underneath, because you are going to frame it, you can always lap them up. Okay. Obviously, I'm not going to, put some more water on that too. If you're worried about it not looking great, you can go like that and do your little tap job. All right, so I am going to put this on pause so that I can dry it up. I got a little splash here, some dark stuff, but I'm not worried about it because when it's framed or when I cut it for my card or in for the thing, it's going to cover it up, so it's not a big deal, okay? If you think you need more water, by all means, put it in there. Boop. But when you dry it, be careful because you may splatter it or you may also push it in a way that you don't want it to go. So when you're drying it, if you would like it to keep this look, take your blow dryer and blow dry it going down. hold it up here and tilt it so that it will still look like it is, you know, going in the right direction. Now I'm actually making mine go up again, and now I'm putting it off to the side. I'm going back and forth. I want to see if I can make that look better. Okay, here I go, putting you on pause. Putting you on pause. Hi, I'm back. Okay, so I'm going to back it up here and show you my two paintings. They are bone dry because the only way that your Micron pen will work is if your painting is bone dry. So I think that's pretty important to wait on that one. Plus, your white pen will not work either if it's not dry. So you might have a 01 pen, or you might have a 005 pen. The 005 is super thin for tiny, tiny details, and the other one is a little bit thicker. Some of you have different sizes. Okay. So now what am I going to do? Well, I kind of want to see, am I going to cut one of them to make a card? Or which one do I want to, or maybe I don't want to do that to either one of them and I want to redo this whole thing. That's possible. I'm taking my cellophane thing out, making sure my hands are clean because these are nice and white. And trying to see which one looks best. So, looking at this, adorable. I might cut that. Or looking at this, that's pretty cute too. I like it. I like both of them. Okay, well, just for the sake of me doing this with you guys, I'm just going to take the one that I already have, okay? You'll notice that I signed it right here at the bottom. If I can get real close. See, and I put the date. I think it's important to put the date. I'm going to go in and do some details. I'm going to put a little bit of white here. I'm going to sharpen up the beak a little bit and put in the white dot in a minute. But I wanted to show you if you do decide to put it in a tape thing, if you want to tape it up. If you don't want it to be ruined, you should use acid-free tape. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and use any kind of tape. Scotch tape doesn't work very well. Sometimes on corners, I'll go like this. So, you know, but for the most part, I just kind of try and tape it down the whole way. I cut it to how I give myself a little bit of room there and go around and get it nice and tight. Okay, so what am I going to do now? Well, I take the back, okay, and go ahead and put it on there. And until I can find myself a ready-made frame, I am going to tuck it away so it doesn't get dirty. Aha! Already there's a little bit of blue on it. Yikes! So I shouldn't have been framing it right here in front of everything. See? So there it is. It's all ready to go. I could write, you know, Merry Christmas on the back of it. And then these people, like my sister and my brother, have to go find a frame for it. But they could just pop it into a ready-made frame. It's perfectly ready to go because you've already got it on there. It's got the back and everything. Okay. All right. So now what if I want to make myself a card? All right, so here's my envelope. Here's my card. Do I want it to open like this or do I want it to open like that? Well, for these party penguins, I think the only way they can go is this way. So let's see if they'll fit on there. Yes, they will. So I would just cut them out and then glue them down. So I'm gonna get my scissors here if I can find them. All right, I found my scissors And I am not a straight cutter. So what I'm going to do is take my envelope and go on the outside and figure out, well, that's about right, right? Let's hope so. Da, 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 da. Don't cut my envelope. I'm just making it sort of the size of the envelope. I will trim it a little bit more once I get it on my envelope. I mean, card. Okay, so da-da-da, looking at it, it's perfect. So now I need to cut just a little bit more. Did I get it straight? And now I'm going to go over the top area yet. Doesn't look very straight to me. Okay, good enough, good enough. Looking at it, ooh, not bad. It's got a little bit on the top and the bottom, but it looks like I planned it that way. So yeah, I'm going to make it even smaller so that when it goes on top, yes, it has a little bit of stuff going around the outside. Love it. Then I'm going to take my glue stick. Oh, I love glue sticks. And I'm going to glue it down. Or you could take some tape and do it that way too. So turn it over. Purple, beautiful purple. Go ahead. Doo, doo, doo. And I'm going to make sure that I sign it. All right. And date it. And I might even write on the back, this card painted especially for you by Joan McGinnis with her blood, sweat, and tears. No, I'm just kidding. And then you can go ahead and eventually send it to somebody. Ta-da! You have a card, and you guys are awesome, and they will shower you with love and praise. All right, so now we need to go back and finish what we started. So I'm pretty sure this is bone dry, and I'm going to try and figure out where his eyeball is. Aha, there's his eyeball. So all I did was put in a dot, and I'm going to wait for that to dry, okay? And now I'm going to take my my Micron pen, my other Micron pen, because that one is a jelly pen. This one is a Micron pen. And what am I going to do? Well, I feel that this guy needs a little bit of a line around his face and maybe around his belly, just a tiny bit, because I didn't feel like I did it enough justice before. Now, if I feel that I put too dark of a line down there, I am so happy. I've got my white pen. I can go in there and lighten it up. So I can put little dashes and no one will even know that I used that for that, right? Now, for these guys, how do I want to make it so their noses are real sharp? Well, I can go up here and I can go in there and just put a little sharp bit on the end. So it looks like I don't have a messy tip, okay? I'm going to put a little bit in there. Doo, 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 doo. I love it. I don't need eyeballs on these guys. I don't think I need anything else, so I am just going to sign it. I'm going to do a little sign right on the edge here. I mean, it doesn't have to be very big, right? 2020. And then on the other guy, I still only have a white eyeball, but it's still wet. So I'm going to take a tiny piece of my paper towel and dab it. Ooh, it's dry. Good. Once it's dry, I don't want him to look like Psycho Penguin. I'm going to try and make his little dot big. There. That's it. He has a little dealy bopper there. He has a little dot. Okay. If wouldn't you know, this is stop working. Well, if it stops working, just give it a little bit of time. Don't press too hard. And there you go. Now I got my black running again. Very delicate things these are. Okay. All right. Maybe I also want to put a tiny white line somewhere. Where did I have the white line before? Oh, right on his mouth. So I am going to put one there. And where else do I want? You know what? I think his eyes look a little psycho, so I'm going to make him look a little more almond shape. If I absolutely hate my eye and I think I've messed it up, remember, I can always go back in, make sure it's dry. I can always go back in and fix it with paint. I'm actually going to, yeah, I mellowed mine out a bit. I'm going to zoom in so you can see his eyeball. You see that? I think I did a pretty good job zooming in. Yeah, at least it looks like one. Okay, so this guy is a little cheerier. I feel like I have a lot of pink on this guy, but I have a lot of gray here. So I could go in and put some more gray if I want to, but I like it. You know, I love the coloring. I love how it turned out. Every single time I do this, they look different. They really do. Let's see about the party penguins. Let's compare it to the original one. Oh, the original one does have eyes. Huh. Excuse me. Okay, well, all right. I don't know what I was thinking. This one looks like this is the underneath of his neck, so I don't want to give this guy one. So I'm not going to this time, but I am going to put an eyeball here, just a circle, and a little line. Tiny little line here, boop, and an eyeball. And Mr. Fatso here gets an eyeball too. But I'm not giving this guy one because in my mind, it's the, I don't know. Wow, what the heck? Okay, you talked me into it, guys. I gave him an eyeball just in case somebody says, well, why doesn't that one have an eyeball? And I don't want to explain it. Boop. There. Wait till it dries and do my dot in the middle. Ta-da! We are done. Stick a fork in it. We are done. So, do you want to make a card out of it? Do you want to put it in something like this and give it to somebody? Even that's a card. You know, it's a card present. And I think this year we should all be giving gifts that we have labored over. Labor of love right there. Okay, guys, this is it. And of course, my pen is acting up on me again. But don't throw them away. Just write me a little note and tell me what's going on with my stupid pens if that's the issue. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work too, huh? We did 2 paintings tonight. We rock. Oh, shoot. I was going to give a plug for my new thing. Oh, shoot. I don't think I have time. Well, I'm going to be doing 2 weeks of Christmas cards. One will be, and I've got the cards for you, and I've got Christmas paper and, you know, to put on the outside. But 1 week I'm going to be doing this one. I'm going to be doing a bear and a what's it called, a snowman and a ball. That's 3 cards for that. And then another day I'm going to be doing lights, a deer, and 3 gnome. So I will give you the paper for it. So if you want to do extra ones, you can. And I'm also giving you, I'm giving you a piece of this and a piece of this, different colors, so that if you want to put a background on it, you know, when you mount it and you put it on your card, it'll look really pretty. So I have red and green, and I'm giving you both. So it's card making time next time. We're going to do 3, but they're simple, not like today. You did 2 huge paintings today because I couldn't make up my mind, and that's why we did them. So, okay, guys, I just wanted to tell you that's where we're going. Thank you. Bye. All right, stop share. Goodbye. I need a shower.